He's done it again. Ivan K, he's done it again. Gonna bring on my next guest, my good friend Zina Alfa. Zina, where are you? See, this is the result of drinking alkaline water. And clean-hearted Josh. What's going on, Josh? How are you, my man? I need you to stay. I need you to get involved and ask lots of cool questions. All right. Waiting for Zina to come online now. How you doing, Josh? Give me a wave if you're here. We gotta keep moving.
Hi,
Hi, Zina.
Hi, Ivan.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm nice. Your I believe the term your makeup's beat really well, by the way.
Thanks. I actually decided to put on some makeup today because I was
Have you noticed?
um,
Have you noticed anything different about me?
I mean, your skin's looking fresh and you've got a beard.
Ah!
It looks a bit grey.
No. That is an actual Bunsen burner accident. In secondary, you know how we used to play around with the Bunsen burners?
Yeah.
Bunsen burners. What happened is, I was playing around with a couple people in science and it got a bit aggressive. And the grey on my neck is actually a result of the Bunsen burner oil hitting me. Like it splashed right part of my face and it was hideous. It was disgusting. It was like a horrible, nasty zit which wouldn't go away. Nasty. Went to the doctor and he squirted liquid nitrogen on it and it killed that part of my face by killing the germ. So that is why that area there is grey.
You should put some sea moss on it. It solves everything. Which
Zina, I'm not putting no sea moss on it. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not putting sea moss on it.
I think you should. Like I've been putting sea moss on my face, and honestly, my skin is amazing at the moment. So
yeah, I mean, it looks it looks good. I'm gonna have to. I mean, I've just been drinking alkaline water and Highland Spring. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be fancy. Next is gonna be kale and some more of that good stuff.
Yeah,
but yes, you know.
Today.
Oh, did you? Where did you go?
I can't reveal that. No, I went to Lidl.
Where are you going? No, you was out doing things you weren't supposed to be doing, weren't you? Look at you.
No. I actually went to go like get some like kale and like fruits and stuff to make smoothies. So, yeah.
Okay. Good stuff. I mean, thank you for joining, and thank you for everybody else for coming in. I think you got Bilal, Charlie, McIntosh. I'm sure these are all Zina's friends and fans. Clean Hearted Josh, Leonie, Joyce, Catherine, MK. Hello, Gino.
Yeah. That's Olivia.
Gino, I have to give Gino another extra 3 smiles. You see how the cheeks move, but yeah. Cool. Zina, let's get into it. So, cool. Zina, tell everybody who you are, please, and what you do, and kind of your interests, and yeah, we can get the ball rolling.
Okay, cool. Hi guys, my name is Zina, and I'm the founder of Unbelievable Hair. Unbelievable Hair is a marketplace app that connects users to hairstylists and barbers based on their hair type. So, if you have 1C hair, you can find a hairstylist that can come to you, or you go to them and you get your hair done. Or if you have 4C hair like me, you would be able to find a hairstylist that could actually do your hair. And our aim is to disrupt the tech and beauty market and kind of bring in that gap between consumer and producer. So the producer is the hairstylist, and then the consumer is obviously the customer. And also we are looking to evolve and start doing products, and we are working with a number of brands, which I can't say right now, but we are going to be properly launching at the end of May.
Nice. That is wicked, Z. And what inspired you be here? Was it just people walking around with nappy heads and you just thought, nah, you need work done? I don't know what's going on. Hair looking like an attack on the block or something. Is that what it was?
So, I mean, you've probably had this story a million times, but obviously we grew up in around the same area. But for me, like I went to I went to a posh school, and I, you know, my friends and the people that I knew couldn't do my hair, and so I had to go to places that were quite unsafe for, you know, young black girls when they're like, you know, 7, 8 years old, having to go to really like dangerous areas to go get their hair done, which obviously sparked like a trauma that I didn't realize that I had. And then my mum is also disabled, so she couldn't do my hair. So she just wasn't in like the right kind of frame of mind to do that. So I ended up having to, go to those spaces. And then when I went to university, I was doing, you know, I was in Sheffield, and, you know, that's quite far away. And there was literally...
that must have been rough.
Yeah.
It must have been rough, those 3 years in Sheffield.
No, I loved it. I mean, I loved it. It's very, very hilly. It's very, like, outdoorsy. And I love, like, the outdoors.
Did you
despite the
ride
fact,
on the map? Did you run up hills as well? And did you guys,
I mean, we did go to
have
the
a lot
peak
of drink
quite a
balmy
bit, which was
armies?
quite nice. Yeah, and there was a thing. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but there was like a party at
Go
the
on.
end of the year in the Peak District, which was amazing. Like people would you'd like find a location, you'd find the coordinates, and you'd have to try and find it, and then you'd party all night. So good,
How
literally
does
like.
that work? Sorry, I'm confused. How does that
So
work?
you're sent like coordinates, and then you have to find those coordinates on a map, and then on the map, that's where like the event is.
I
Oh,
should, at the time, I should be saying, wow, that's cool. That's amazing. That sounds like a whole lot of work
oh,
just for
it's
a party.
amazing! It was amazing because
Hold on,
you
were you
had to kind of
drunk?
choose your mind.
Were you guys drinking and going off and doing these things, or were you just finding it then
Yeah,
partying?
no, you bring all your stuff with you, so they have these amazing like massive speakers, and then you would like end up in in the Peak District, so where there's no one else, and then you just have this massive rave with like thousands of other people. It was amazing. It's like Glastonbury, but like
Nah, you lot are
Corona.
violating Corona. I couldn't do that. You lot, first of all those years ago. Now, if you lot tried that today, that would just be violating the Corona. To be honest, no, I'm joking. Oh, cool. And so, thank you for that, Z. And I guess with you, I've known Zena for a very, 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 very long time. We've been friends for the longest time. She's like my sister.
Yeah,
And I guess the question for me is, seeing your growth and your progression from where you were when you first started to what you are now has been remarkable. I mean, if you don't mind sharing kind of the high and low points of kind of your careers and your trials and tribulations of what got you to the point you are now, because it honestly has been so impressive to see where you started and where you are now mentally, whether that be work-wise.
yeah. I think like for anything that you're kind of dedicated towards, like there's always going to be a journey, and there's always going to be hardship, and there is also going to be times where there's really high highs, but unfortunately the lows are definitely more than the highs. Whenever you're kind of running a business, I guess like I come from a TV background, TV film background, produced a number of shows, and developed a number of television programs as well, and short films as
Um,
well.
please care to share some of the shows and events and things you put on for the world to see, please.
Well, so I started off with news. So I was working for Sky News, producing like their daily content. So and also digital as well. And then I went to ITV and I was
Yeah.
doing Good Morning Britain. I know people will have opinions about that, but I had to pay the bills, and I was fresh out of doing a master's. So you gotta do what you gotta do. And then I moved on to a production company, Wilson Worldwide Productions, big up WWP,
Come on.
and yeah, and yeah, I worked with them for 2.5 years, developing different shows and so forth. So yeah, it was
Scooter says hello. Sorry, Scooter
oh,
came in. Hello,
100%.
Scooter. Oh, sorry, I'm begging it. Hello, Scooter. I know he doesn't know me, but hi, Scooter.
Yeah, he runs an amazing initiative called Quarantine Con, which you should all check out. Like
Oh,
it's an
cool.
amazing
Check
digital
that out.
platform.
Scooter, me and you're going
Yeah,
to talk as well. Cool. It's a community
yeah,
platform.
Quarantine Con is amazing. And it's for like Black creatives, so I'm a big fan of that. So yeah, it's amazing. Okay, so the highs have been obviously like I'm going to be working with Dove, and I've spoken to oh, Neef has just said you've ignored him.
Oh, hi, Neef. Sorry, I didn't even see it. I didn't see it. Sorry, the comment section was going through. Sorry. Look at Neef. Look at quick. Extra. What do you want? No, I'm joking. Hi, Neef. Hi,
Yeah,
Neef. That's my guy. That's my dude.
yeah,
But yeah,
he's
sorry.
amazing as
As
well.
you were rudely interrupted by Neef.
No, it's
Sorry
fine.
about
So yeah, working with like some really big brands, and like got some other ones in the pipeline. Scoring those kinds of like brands are amazing, and it just makes you feel like what you're working towards is amazing. But there are moments where you literally have like no money and you can't do anything, and you feel as if you can't go on anymore. And
that.
there were times when I was really, really depressed. I mean, Ivan, because you've kind of been through, you've kind of seen me at some of my lowest points.
Mm,
um
mm.
but like you just have to keep on persevering. That's the only like piece of advice that I would say, like persevere, persevere, persevere. And like also try and meditate every day. In the mornings, write your thoughts, meditate, manifest, kind of like always put out what you want, because you set those intentions, and then you will ultimately get what you want. It might not be straight away, and so you have to have a level of patience, but you will eventually get there. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
See, this is why I wanted Zina to talk about it, mention her 2 pence into that. And Zina, I wanted to ask you 2 more questions about some of the initiatives that you've been a part of and what you've been running. For those that don't know, Zina set up what do you call it? Just Give, with those pages. You see those change.org.
Oh yeah,
Zina
change.org.
set up
Yeah.
a campaign, and I want Zina to explain it a bit more because it actually picked up some recognition in the media.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Zina, I'll let you explain the campaign and if it's still running. And
Yeah. So I mean, it definitely is, but obviously with like COVID and everything that's going on, it's it's not high in priority in terms of like people are dying, and I'm talking about kind of like hair. But what I started was a petition to end hair discrimination in the UK, and we can see a lot of Black and brown people being stopped from achieving and getting jobs because of their hair texture. And for me, I've dealt with that in the past, and at school, and I was seeing time and time again, this come up, this kind of issue come up. So I decided that I was going to kind of, take my initiative and start this petition, which has now got 78,000 signatures. I'm so happy.
78,000.
Yeah. It's doing really
78,000.
yeah.
How did you even push that? How did you even get that many people to?
Well, it's a cause that like so many people can relate to, though, isn't it? So it's not like it's something that is far-fetched. It's not like something that's not going to be beneficial. It's a way to protect like our people. There are so many there's so many hidden ways that people try and prevent Black people from progressing, and using hair as a means of doing that is not going to be like, I'm going to stop that from happening. You shouldn't be able to discriminate someone because of their hair texture, or because they have like dreadlocks, or they have their hair in like box braids. Like, how ridiculous is that? Like, what kind of draconian measures are put in place to kind of stop people from being able to kind of draconian measures?
Look, I know what it means, draconian.
Yeah.
Why? It's 7 o'clock. You want to be using these big words?
Okay, but
we are tired. We want our extenders. Huh?
But like it all comes back. I mean, I'm going to go on a rant now, but it's all kind of stemming from slavery and the kind of like the way a cultural assimilation into like Western ideals, and they were shaving people's hair and removing their identity, right? And so as a result, like now the kind of idea of someone being beautiful, or someone being able to kind of fit in or be wealthy in this place is being shown by having straight hair, when we don't have, like, I mean, I've got a wig on right now, but like I don't have straight hair. I have an afro. My afro is amazing. Like, I should have had my afro, but
So I guess for those that don't know, or maybe ignorant to it, why do a lot of, I'm going to act like but I'm going to say on behalf of people that may not know, why do women feel comfortable wearing wigs and not necessarily rocking their natural hair for whatever reason it may be?
Well, I mean, it kind of goes back to what I said before about, about slavery and it being a means of fitting into society, Black women are the most disrespected species in the world, and the most undervalued, most underappreciated. And, this doesn't only just affect Black women, it affects Black men as well. But there's a whole societal pressure to kind of be, especially for women, to be like a certain way, and to fit in. Like, you look at magazines, you look at all these things, and you kind of like, you think, oh, I want to be like this princess, I want to be this model, I want to be like, I want to be like all these things, because that is what is being promoted and being like pictured as beautiful. And I'm not having it. I don't agree with that. And also I feel like people, like subconsciously, because those things are being pushed and that rhetoric is being pushed, people feel like they need to do that. And like, it sometimes it is easier just whacking on a wig. Sometimes I've got the wig on, it's just easier. I've been busy today.
Well, that isn't it? Just like whacking on and just.
And sometimes it is nice. Like, when the problem is that like people feel like that's the only way, and that's the only way that they like. I've probably spoken to about 100 people about their afros, right? And each one of them have said, oh, I'd never go to a job interview in my afro.
Why
Oh, I'd
not?
never do that.
For those that
Because,
can't exactly grow an afro anymore, their hairline's a bit of a madness. Why not? Why these people? You should be
well,
very grateful of your
because
crown.
they are afraid. Because they're
Mm.
afraid, because that is what the rhetoric is in the UK, and we can see that's a symptom of the kind of like wider racial issues that are going on in our country, that are embedded into our country, which I don't think is very widely publicized. And that's why I was bringing light to that issue, because it's so hidden in society. You know, like it's like it was really sunny today, right? So it looked like, oh yeah, this is like really great, like it's lovely and it's sunny, and I went outside and it's freezing. And that is
Oh
how
yeah,
UK
yeah.
is.
It is cold. It is very, very cold outside.
That is how I would describe the UK. You know, you think it's all like nice and sunny on the outside, but actually as soon as you step outside and you kind of know, oh, it's freezing, it's cold.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, that's kind of how I see it, and that's one of the reasons why I started it. And you know, that's kind of why I think so many people feel the need to kind of like chemically straighten their hair, which is damaging to the hair anyway, and also why I started the petition. So yeah.
So you're saying for hair means more than just what's on your head. Hair is representation of you. It's your crown, in other
Yeah.
words, right? It
Yeah.
represents kind of like the meaningful. You're giving a message to everybody else
Yeah.
based on the way you convey your hair.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, oh, if I wear my afro, I'll have people being like, oh, sister, sister. I'm like, like,
Yeah,
I'm not a
representation is
sister.
important
Like,
because it's true. Because just to say what you're just to go on that point, it's amazing how when you look at someone, you know, visual representation, perception is everything. I look at a skinhead white dude and I'm gonna think, oh, he's probably likes to snore the N word now and again. Do you know what I mean? Or he loves some of that
yeah,
racism. Or if I see same way I see a dude with dreads, automatically, oh, I know this is very
yeah.
stupid, but automatically when I see a guy with dreads or whatever, I would think they're just a Jamaican straight away. Like
Mm.
I'm not saying it's right, but yeah, and you know, you're right. It is a very, very important thing. So I guess in a way, when you restrict hair, people from being who they really are, you're taking away
Yeah.
from them, right? Because then ultimately, even if I think a skinhead dude is going to be a racist, he's
Mm.
not necessarily that. It's just him and how he represents himself. Again, it's just
Exactly.
kind of I've associated it with a negative experience I may have had in the past of what I've read. That's why it's important for
Exactly.
people to express and give them a chance and not judge. So I guess there is a lot of power in what you're saying.
Yeah.
On the same hand, though, Zena, there's a difference between someone that cares about hair and trying to be kempt, like trying to be clean. I get people want to rock it, but some people just look a mess, even with the hair that they think is all good and you know what I mean, trying to state a message. Come on, it's like no, pick up a comb. A comb is not your enemy. Come on, pick up something to help that. So
Do you mean like people with afros, or people with like
no, not people.
dreadlocks, or
People it
like?
could be people with afros. It can be people in a wig. It could be people without a wig. It could be people just Boris hair. It could be whatever. Do you know what I mean? Because that dude's hair is a mess.
Yeah.
But stuff like that. So I guess a question for me to you is how should we perceive people in that way, even if the hair's looking like a hot like insects are having a meeting or not? Do you know what I mean? Like how do we?
I don't think people should be judged by, you know, how they have their hair. Like, I think people should be judged by, you know, the work that they do and like what is on the inside. Like, you know, I think from a young age, like I've been someone who hasn't been judgmental, just because like I kind of recognize that people can be judgmental to others because of, you know, I'm woman and I'm black, and these are things that I can't personally change, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
so I'm very, very much aware of some of the kind of like the judgment that is associated with being that, right? I spoke
Mm.
to someone the other day and they're like, oh, you don't sound black. And I was just like,
In
that's
2020, a big
that's
person with
that's
a
like
degree, with a university
that's
degree,
like
wants to ask you, oh,
but yeah. And it wasn't until they saw me, they're like, oh, you don't like I wouldn't, oh, I just wouldn't have known. And I was just like, so
can I ask a
I'm
question?
used to those,
In them
yeah.
scenarios when people ask you stupid, ignorant questions like, I didn't think you sounded black. Oh, I didn't think you really done. Like, are you rude to them back? I am. I'm very rude to people now back, but I don't just hold off like I used to. I'm just like, if you're really that stupid and you really go ask me that question, then I'm not gonna answer that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I let them know their own stupidity. I think it's 2020. You know, you
Yeah.
should want to be better in that regard.
Yeah.
The only thing I will say to that is, I feel like we're in a time now where we shouldn't. Of course, it's important, it's representation, but we shouldn't have to do anything for the benefit or to explain to anyone else how we are, who we are, what we are. Right?
Mm.
That's another battle in itself. Because think about it, when you're okay, let's say person of color, you got two battles every day: the battle within yourself and the battle of what the perception.
Yeah.
Those are two things you got to fight every single day as a person of color. And
Exactly. It's not
do
up
we really
to,
want to add more to that?
but yeah, exactly. It's not up to us to educate, you know, people on what, you know, some of the issues that we're facing on a day-to-day basis. And when you do start to talk about that, I do find that, you know, there's so much pushback. There's like, but why? But no, that doesn't exist. And there's this kind of denial of like your own lived experience. And I mean, we've seen it time and time again, and that is why like so many people are choosing not to kind of engage. When the stuff was going on with Meghan Markle, right? And you know, you had Dr. Shogbemi, who was on various channels, you know, championing and kind of like explaining so eloquently about some of the kind of racial issues that Meghan was facing as a mixed race woman. She's not like, you know, I'd hate to think like how awful it would be to be like a fully black woman being in the royal family, like how disgusting the media would treat
That
her.
must be hell on earth.
Think
Oh
about
gosh.
how they treat Diana Abbott. Think about
Yeah.
what, you know, like think about the disgusting things that have been said to her on a day-to-day basis, and the way in which the media and people from her own party have treated her.
It's a double whammy, isn't it? Right? Because on top of it, she's a woman of color, and on top of that, you're a woman. And of course, patriarchy is
Exactly.
always going to reign supreme. In unfortunately, in these situations, you know, we still live in a very patriarchal system, in which a woman who's threatening of any kind of in any kind of way, whether that be through power, beauty, is always
Yeah.
going to have to, or intelligence, of course, and
Yeah.
or if they have the triple threat, is
But
always going to have
it
to
goes
face that.
hand in hand. It goes hand in hand. So like that whole idea of, you know, like the straight hair, like, you know, being slightly fairer skinned, like, you know, it all, I'm not fair skinned. I'm a dark skinned black woman. So like, you know, there is that kind of like, oh, you know, you want to kind of fit in, you kind of want to be like perceived as beautiful. You know, I watched Self-Made the other day, and you know, it was amazing. It was about Madam CJ Walker, and you know, the kind of the rhetoric. I wrote just like a little blog post about it, about how that made me feel, and it was all very too like similar. I've really felt the pain that she felt, you know, being alongside some of my best friends are, you know, mixed race and fairer skin, and like I don't get me wrong, I love them to bits, but you know, when you're being forced to compete with people of a lighter shade than you, on top of that being like, you know, and being like a woman, and you know, and then there's the kind of like layers of like lack of support that they lack of support that they kind of lack of support that they kind of like push, that rhetoric that they push between like women against hating each other and that kind of thing. It really didn't sit well. Like it really didn't sit well with me. But equally, like I was like, I know what that feels like. I know it. I know, like I feel that pain like almost every day. You know, I feel that pain of like, you know, having to compete. Well, not even having to compete, and just like, you know, seeing like other people that do like half as much work get like promoted, or you know, like when you turn from office pet to office threat, you know, like
office pet to office threat. I quite
yeah,
like
I
that.
mean,
You
like
know,
you
I'm a fan of the
like you
rhyme.
see
Yeah,
it, you see it,
yeah.
like, you know, you start off kind of, you know, you start off in a role, or you start off in an office where like, you know, all the qualities that made you like that were great for the job in the beginning then turn into, you know, as soon as you start relaying any sort of opinion or having any sort of backbone, that's when there's a problem.
Yeah, I get
So
that. I get that.
like it's not up to us to kind of like educate people on that. And I think what I did with some of my colleagues in the past is that I just gave them books to read. I gave them the books Why I No Longer Talk to White People About Race. I'm not doing it anymore. Like I'm not going to sit and have like arguments with
Did you
people
do it?
about.
Did you do it through Secret Santa, or did you do it with your whole
No.
chest?
Did it with my whole
Pumped out
chest.
your
Laid
chest.
down the book. I said, "You want to know about black people? I'll tell you about black people." Yeah, you should read this
I
book.
like that. You don't over say
It's
it with your
amazing.
chest. Oh
Say it with
wait.
your chest. Yes.
Oh
You
wait.
want to know? Yeah. I mean, yeah, but I think it's important for so many people to kind of read that book. If you want to educate people, I think it is a phenomenal book to kind of read. So then you can, I gave it to my mum to read, and she was like, oh my God, I
Give it to
didn't
Neef.
realize.
Give it to Neef. You'll get him started.
Yeah.
Give it to Neef.
It's
Yeah.
it's an
No,
amazing,
Neef loves a good book.
It's an amazing book. Like I wish there were more. I wish there were more books. Equally so though, I have found that sometimes in the community, when you kind of approach people to help you and kind of like support you, it's been the opposite. So they've said no, because they kind of recognize their influence, and they kind of want to do things their own way. I'm not going to go into it in too much detail, but
Cool.
you know, even with the campaign, like I had approached like various people, and they were like, yeah, and then they just started their own.
Cool.
Like, yeah.
Wolves.
Yeah.
Wolves. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
And like,
Thank you for
knowing
that,
full well that they have like so much, they have so much leverage and so much kind of like popularity, and they already have like such a huge backing from a wide number of people and a wide number of spaces, you know. So yeah.
Thank you very much for that, Z. I'm gonna open the floor. Hi to everybody that's tuned in now. We've got some more numbers growing all the time.
I've seen Ngozis around.
Join the community. I want to get as many people talking on this as possible. But yeah, so I'm gonna open the floor now to a few questions. Our first one is from Enafiuk, EKP. Shout out to Enafiuk, he's a writer. Zina, I'm gonna say it in his voice. So what do you think the purpose in your work life is? I've said it in his voice.
Okay, that's
Oh. Maybe having a bit of technical difficulty. Just gonna wait for Zina to come back.
Sorry, it's posed.
There we go. She's back.
My battery's on like 20%. So I think like with Corona and everything that's happening at the moment, it's really made my vision even more clear, and what I'm meant to do. Like, I'm definitely meant to be here to help other people kind of grow in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of like confidence, in terms of, you know, in terms of protection for especially like black people. I definitely think that I guess like my vision and my purpose is to build up wealth, so then I can then use that wealth to then better others, and help them grow individually. So that's kind of the purpose of the app. So the app is to kind of help businesses, so barbers and barbers and hairdressers kind of build their own businesses using the platform for their bookings and sharing their work, and kind of like being able to be like, okay, I can do this is what I can do, that's what I can do, and kind of alleviate some of the like pain points that you get when you're trying to be as creative as possible and do people's hair and provide a service, and you don't like, you know, it's then you then have this service that pretty much does that for you, so you don't have to kind of do all of that. And we kind of deal with their bookings and also their money. So we're working with Anna, who's a company that deal with invoicing and so forth, and help them I suppose manage their money really well. And then from the kind of consumer side, it's to kind of help people feel comfortable in their own home. You know, there are people who are disabled that can't, you know, go out and, you know, get their hair done and feel confident and feel like they can actually do something. You know, like we speak about getting your hair done and you feeling confident, like you can be black, gray, blue, whatever, but you know, there's something so nice about going and having like that really nice service and feeling really great, because then you're like, oh yeah, and you feel great, and you know, your endorphins.
Oh yeah.
You know, but you're happy, and you're like, yeah, I'm getting my hair done, and like I feel great. When you go to the barbers, you get your trim up, you're like, girls, ladies, come get me. Do you know what I mean? Like
what?
I mean,
No,
no,
man, never not like that. No.
But
we got hair done.
like,
We're just thinking, barber shit costs nice, you know. We're just thinking barber shit costs nice, you know. That's all we're thinking, not these girls, ladies. Whoa.
Yeah, okay. You know, business, you know. but yeah,
business.
business. But I think like also kind of, I think in the long term, once I kind of build up that wealth, I'm going to set up a VC, and also I want to I'm kind of like in the pipeline is setting up like my own fintech. So I want to start like a fintech with in the Black community. So that would be being able to trade really, really well from Africa and the Caribbean to like the UK and do that really well. So yeah, that's
Cool.
it's all about kind of like helping people become their own bosses, especially those from environments where they don't necessarily have the information or the platform to kind of do so. And you can learn a skill. You can learn how to become an entrepreneur just by, you know, using the business. And we'll be doing products too. I mean, I'm shamelessly plugging my own stuff, but I definitely feel like, you know, once you know this finally launches, it's going to change millions of lives.
Amen to that. And Z, so you have another question from Davina Cell. I think Davina CL. She said, "How are you slaying like this during quarantine?"
Okay, so so it's been like a bit of an up and down. So I've been, in the beginning I was incredibly anxious, and very, very, very anxious. So I was like, oh my God, you know, this is really scary. Everyone's gonna die. Da, 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 da. And
Hey, you're so dramatic, you know.
I know.
Oh, dramatic.
I was. But it's, you know, I've stopped watching the news. I think that the news is just like a fear-mongering machine. Obviously, having worked in news, I know that there's an agenda, a wider set agenda. Obviously, I'm not going to get into, if Hannah was watching now, she'll start asking me about 5G. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, let's not start that. Let's not start that conversation. People will be looking at us like we're mad, you know. Let's not start.
Exactly. They'll start coming. Look, the live will end very quickly.
Very quick. Before you know it, we'll just be gone. You see us on the news like that.
Exactly. And you won't see
Yeah.
But I so what was the question again? I've kind of lost my train.
Question is, how are you slaying? For those that don't understand slaying, I believe slaying is how are you looking so good. For those, you have to make sure people understand.
How am I looking so good? Okay, well, thank you. I just put on some Fenty. You know, I'm gonna manifest it. I want to work with Rihanna. Yeah, love her. I think she's.
I thought you would have said the God bless me with this or whatever, but you're saying Fenty.
No. I mean, drinking lots of water and smoothies every day. I have a smoothie every day. Yeah, that's pretty good. And I put some sea moss on my face as well to like. So now my face is really dewy. So yeah, that's great. But
well, another one in. Oh, sorry. Go on, Karen. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, in terms of like kind of getting my I guess like my vibrations high again. And kind of feeling a sense of peace. I've kind of like become accustomed with this. And I've become accustomed with this new way of life. In some ways you're like saving lots of money, and you've got to kind of like appreciate and really, really value like the fact that we are so blessed. I mean, we're so blessed to even be on Instagram Live, like being able to kind of communicate. It doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, face to face. We're still connecting. It's just a new way of connecting, right? And being really, really grateful for what we do have. I think it's really important to be grateful, because not everyone has that. And also, you know, I'm meant to have investors, and you know, the investors pulled out because of this. So my business had been affected. Yeah.
Have they pulled out?
Yeah. So that like.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
They're from Hong Kong, and like they can't get into the country. So, you know, they're meant to be coming in. We're meant to be getting new offices in May, like, you know, all of these things. So like it's a high and low, but as long as you have to remain grateful, and you have to remain like meditate, like I say, meditate every day.
10 toes down. 10 toes down,
I mean?
and be thankful.
Like
definitely.
I'm alive. Like I'm alive. Like I've like, you know, I mean, we know what happened. I mean, I definitely had coronavirus, but you know, like came out on the other side and like feel fine now. And like we just need to be grateful that we're even like being able to do it. If you're not alive, then you can't even do what you need to do, right? So like I definitely think that it's very important that we remain grateful in this, and that is how I've been slaying it.
Cool. Yeah. We're coming close to the end. But got one more question from Catherine and MK. She said, "What's the most surprising thing you've learned since starting UB Hair?"
Wow. What's the that I don't know how to communicate. I'm a really bad communicator, because for so long I've been doing this on my own. And once I got a team in place to kind of like help me with like all the things. I've now got a team of 6. You know, once like kind of getting that in place and kind of like managing people, you spend half the day managing people when you, and like, I can't just run off anymore. I can't just run off. Like, I'm very good at kind of like going off the radar, and no one knows where I am. And then they'll be like, hi, oh, I didn't know that you're around. You know what I mean? So I've had to kind of learn how to communicate effectively and just check in as much as I can, because I recognize that was a problem, but a really important problem, but also something that I could have learned from. So yeah.
Cool.
And also, like,
Okay.
I also realized that I like don't know anything. I mean, I always knew that, but like, there's so many books to read. There are always so many books to read. There are always so many things that you can do to keep on learning. And yeah, I think that was mainly it.
Thank you, Z. Okay, I've got last, just to finish it off. Got a little game I want to play with you, as I do with all my guests. It's just who would you do it with? Not in that way. It's who would you do it with. Not in that
Okay,
way,
I can listen, please.
but who would you do it
No,
with? Okay.
joking.
So I just give you a scenario. You say the first name, obviously, that comes to mind, and just say a little bit why. All right. Who's the one person in the world that you'd love to be stuck on a boat with?
Elon Musk.
Why?
Because he's a free thinker, but he's very kind of stubborn in his views. Like, he's very innovative and very like forward thinking, and I just think that the way in which he kind of sees the world is very, very interesting.
If you well, sorry, because I'm not going to go into it. I'm just going to go shoot to the next one.
Okay, no, go shoot to the next
Okay.
one.
So if you were going to go buy a car and you wanted someone to go hustle it down with you, the price of it, who would you take and why?
My mum. That woman can have. She can bargain for life. Like, that's where I've learnt my hustling skills from. Yeah, I'll take my mum, Rita. Yeah.
If you were going to go protest in front of Parliament and you can only take one person, who would that be and why?
Oh, probably. One person.
Yeah.
Trump.
You would take Donald Trump to protest in front of UK Parliament.
I mean, like, because you know, it's, you know, he's crazy. I mean, I'm not saying that I like him, but I'm just saying that, like, you know, it will spark like some sort of interest. People are like, why is she bringing someone like that? Why, you know, why, like, what has he got to say? They'll listen. They'll at least listen. Okay. And I think that's important. But right. I mean, there's so many other people that I'd bring that are amazing too. But yeah, I think he'd be a bit weird.
So who's the most famous person you've met, and why did you like them or not?
Oh.
In your line of work.
Oh, okay. So the most famous person I've met is probably the French president.
Pierre Macron. Pierre Macaroni.
Macron, yeah. I think
Macaroni. So why did you? How were your thoughts on Macaroni?
Yeah, pardon? He's cool, man. He was really cool. He was really, really nice. Very friendly. I mean, it wasn't for long. And he like went out of his way to come and speak to me, which I thought was really, really nice. And I was like, why are you being like that? You just want my blood or something? You know, because I know how you Frenchmen are trying to take all the
look, Spiela is in no way affiliated with what those views. Those are standalone views. Joking, listen, we love French people.
No, joking.
We love croissants. I'm joking. I'm
joking.
Zina, see, Zina, that's what you do. You influence me as well. You're so bad, dude.
But
gosh, all right. Who have you met which prominent person you met that you didn't like, you didn't get on with, you just thought, bad vibes?
I'm okay. You might not know who this person is, but she's a TV presenter, and she's called it's not Kate Hopkins. I mean, she's awful, but and those views I stick by. But she's called Julia Hartley-Brewer. She's just like a massive.
That's why she's not known. No one knows her. I don't know. What's her name? Julia
Hartley-Brewer. Julia Hartley-Brewer. She's just like a nightmare.
Julie Jason.
No, Julia Hartley-Brewer. She's a
Julia Aguilera.
Okay. Yeah.
Can't really hear you. Sorry about that. So Julia Aguilera is not a nice person. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, Z, do you
Yeah,
have
I
any
mean, I'm not going
final
to say anyone else because I just feel like, it might end up
out
being.
of respect?
Yeah.
All right, out of respect to Julia Thompson Davis and someone else. And all right, cool. So, Zina, is there any final words you want to say to the audience? And thank you for everybody for tuning in and all your questions as well. Again, Spiela is a community platform. We aim to get as many people onto the platform as possible. We want to grow, collaborate, and get people to share their own experiences and build a community base. Community is something we feel we're lacking, and Spiela is trying to build that an opportunities marketplace for everybody. So, yeah, thank you everyone for joining in. And Zina, if you've got any final words for the audience.
Yeah, I would definitely say that you should use this opportunity, this time wisely, and use it as an opportunity to kind of learn something and grow and reflect and build up a skill. Obviously, like Udemy do lots of amazing courses. Open University are
They
doing
do.
loads of
I've
free
actually read
courses.
me.
You
Yep.
know,
Harvard Business as well. Harvard
Harvard
Business
Business
Journal,
are
which is
doing
free. It's
exactly.
amazing. Yeah.
Masterclass are doing some amazing initiatives. There's so many things that are out there for you to learn and grow as an individual. Don't take this time as time to sleep. Don't sleep on it. Definitely use your time wisely and learn and try and grow and build up something that will be able to help better your future. I would also say, like, obviously go on to ubhair.net and sign up and sign up to the newsletter. I've got a new podcast coming out, which is called Hair Story, and we basically delve into people's lives and their personal stories through the eyes of hair. So that will be out very, very soon. I'm not sure of the date, so that's why I'm not giving you a date. And also, tag your hairstylists, tag your barbers, support your local businesses, support the people that need it in this time of need. If you can, like whiz your barber like a fiver to kind of for the haircut that you would have got, last week or something, that is definitely
See,
gonna.
now, I don't think no one's going to pay for
No,
hair they can't do. Their
yeah,
hair's not getting done. Why
but
do you think I'm wearing a hat? My hair is finished. That's why I'm wearing a hat, and I'm not taking it off until I get a haircut.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Well, I mean,
wearing a hat indoors. Am I
start
mad?
tagging, share with me your barbers and your hairstylists, and if you like, share with me your beauty and hair care routines. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I'd love to feature you guys on the website and on the app. So all the content
Mine's
is.
coconut oil and tea tree.
Oh,
That's just my hair.
amazing.
It's my skincare routine. That's why I'm positively glowing. My
Yeah,
girlfriend
I
tells me all
love
the
it.
time.
Tea tree
I
oil
know. I'm
and
like her biggest
coconut
fan.
oil.
She takes my girlfriend takes my kind of stuff. Like she follows my plan, my routine. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. She does have really good skin as well, and amazing hair. So yeah, she needs to tell me her hairstylist even.
We'll
Yeah,
get
we
that
need to get as many on
arranged.
the platform as possible, and we need to kind of like start supporting our community. So yeah, those are my final words.
And for those who watch sports or are interested in football and want to get into it, there's plenty of teams around. Just wanted you to know, like, follow a great club and a great team. And yeah,
I can't even read that. What does that say?
just
Oh,
for those who
oh,
want to get involved in great sports, yeah.
please! I can't even. I don't even
But
want to see that.
but thank you, Zena, very much for your time. Really much appreciated.
Who's that?
Gina Tiller,
They do that.
that's much.
They do their
And she
hair.
does her hair herself. Yes, she does her hair
Okay,
herself.
well, can you let's get in contact. Let's get you to start doing some
And
like Instagram
Weimar on
lives
here
and
wants
create
to get in
content.
contact with you as well, Z, so I'll hook that up. But
Yeah.
thank you everybody so much for your time. Please check out spiela.co.uk. We will be doing the Q&As every day for the next 2-3 weeks. We'd love to get more people on board. If you're interested, please jump on the DM. We've got
Thank you,
really cool
Neef.
guests. And yeah, Neef, just ignore him. I think he supports Wolverhampton. He's one of them or South, Rhineman clubs. Yeah, one of those clubs. I think he supports. So you just got to ignore people like that. But yeah, thank you, Z. Have a lovely evening, and everybody take care. And welcome to Spiela for the newbies, and for those that are involved, spiela.co.uk. Thank you very much. Bye.
See you later.